As most of you know, I'm in the tax business. Normally, we work about 3 to 4 months a year. We have the rest of the year off, essentially. But the last 2 years, things have changed substantially. And this year, we're seeing a lot of new impacts on our clients. And the biggest thing that I'm noticing this year is that most of my clients don't get a refund they owe. And there's a reason for that, and that's because they changed the withholding scheme. For as long as I can remember, when you wanted to set up your withholding with your employer, you just use a simple approach, single and zero. If you were making a reasonable amount of money and you were single and 2 or 3, if you weren't making that much, that would give you less withholding. And the same thing for married people. But the 2017 tax law changed everything. And that approach just doesn't work anymore. The new W-4 form, which is how you tell your employer what you want withheld, is at the very least confusing, and at the very worst, really hard to fill out unless you're in the tax business. So I suppose that's good because it means another job for me that I can charge for. But gosh, I sure hate doing tax returns when people owe. I always feel that somehow I'm responsible. And in a sense I am, because this is something you need to plan ahead for. I remember when I was in the Marines down at Camp Pendleton, tax time came around and one of the guys prepared everybody's tax return. And he said, we were talking about my refund, and he said, you know, John, that's your money that you're getting back. And the reason it was my money is because I didn't pay enough ahead, or I paid too much ahead to pay my taxes. But with that old scheme, it was easy to estimate. So now what I'm trying to do for my clients is to estimate their upcoming year income, and then try to use a little spreadsheet to determine what their withholding should be. It's not easy, but I think I just about have it fixed. But it's one of those little fun side things you do to try to help your clients out. And something else that I've learned over the last 25 years in the tax business, the tax law is not really a tax law, it's a jobs bill. Somehow the government seems to think that they can create a lot of value by employing people or finding ways to employ people, because those people work, they pay taxes on their incomes, and it increases tax revenue. So that's why I say it's a jobs bill. For people like me, it keeps us off the streets. We don't have to hang out down at the Santa Ana River because we can afford to have a nice little apartment and pay for our own food. So it's an interesting sidelight on that law, and it's something you see the government doing more and more. But essentially, the government's overhead. They're just a necessary evil. We need them to keep things organized. But they don't create new stuff. All they do is manage the old stuff, and they don't do that very well. It's the entrepreneurs in our society who create value, create new products, have new ideas, use those ideas to make money, and if their ideas are good, then people are willing to pay for the service they're getting. And when they do that, people find new ways to get their money by creating new ideas. It's a wonderful way to work. And that's why I say the private sector is what really creates value. The government just is overhead. So these laws that we have now, the tax laws, the one I work with the most, sometimes you wonder why they did that, but a lot of times it's just to create jobs for people. And I love it. I've been doing this for 25 years. the best thing about my business is I get to see my clients every year. Some of my clients have children, and I've watched those kids grow up. When I got their parents as clients, they were babies, or maybe hadn't been born yet. And now they're teenagers and they're graduating high school and they're going to college. And it's really fascinating to get a little insight into the lives of the people around you. And of course, I enjoy seeing them every year. Unfortunately, this year, after about the first 300 or so, we had to close the office because of the coronavirus. And we took a week off just to kind of let things settle down. Then we came back. And I'll tell you, I don't like it. I would so much rather see everybody face to face, talk to them, see how they're doing. Having a face-to-face conversations with a client really helps you pick up on what's going on in their lives. And a lot of times you pick up a little deduction or you see a spot where they should be doing something else to reduce their taxes. So the virtual thing is good. At least we can keep going in a disaster. But I can hardly wait until we all get back together. And I can hardly wait until next year when I get to see my clients again. So it's been a good tax season. It's been frightening at times. It's hard to walk up to see somebody and watch them back away from you. But I think we're going to get through this, and I think we'll get the tax situation straightened out so it's a lot easier to deal with in the future. So in conclusion, all I can just say is it's good to be here, and it's good to see all of you. And I might try doing this for an online tax interview. That could be really good. So thank you all for listening to me, and I'll turn it back to Tamara.
Thank you, John. That was awesome.